been faded, serenaded, celebrated. Ooh, very patient. See, I'm not so complicated. Ooh, kakwama on my mind. Your toes are choosy, align. Wanyoike, pick a sign. Kishoka underline. Only free because you let me be. That's the love I want for me. Long time was so dabaridi. Can't deny the chemistry. Ukakwama on my mind. Tuka alive. Tuka bigger sign.
Nobody else can match my energy. Cheesy come on, yeah. Cheesy come on, yeah. We up all night and still we cannot be busy on the AM. Cheesy come on, yeah. Cheesy come on, yeah. Cheesy come on, yeah. Cheesy come on, Cheesy come on,
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
So fresh is on the beat.
Yeah, it's brandy. Smoke one up, set the operation nice and fitty. Roll one up, yeah, things it can get tricky. Napenda kumedi na mziki. Kama ni mapenzi then baby, ulinifanyia nini? Cause I really wanna get time to get know ya, like any time flies. Ntaku treat like I'm supposed to. If you just let me show ya, ntakupa rest on my chest and my shoulders. I must have on my tele. I think him and I fell in love overnight there. Loving him since then. I must have on my tele. I think him and I fell in love overnight there. Loving him since then.
without you by my side, I swear I'm not able to face this thing called life. I feel I'm not stable. So you are my lifeline, my only power cable. Oh, my amiable. Look at the stars, shining so bright to get your attention. But we're so in love, so magical. I'll never love again. Believe it's planning a future now. And when we make love, you taking all the pain away. Otina timranade, universal love me ani chango atonde nate. Pokna yudo machalo kodi ale moni ani bende. Abide Lwanda ni Lwanda migeno. Okana go pain, okana podi. I must have fun my tele. I think she and I fell in love overnight. Wanted her since then. I must have fun my tele. I think she and I fell in love overnight. Wanted her since then. Without you by my side, I swear I'm not able to face this thing called life. I feel I'm not stable. So you are my lifeline, my only power cable. Oh, my amiable. Without you by my side, I swear I'm not able
to face this thing called life. I fear I'm not stable. So you are my lifeline, my only power cable. Oh, my baby. Was so scared to fall in love again, but your touch is everything. Niseni, siseme, when you're my everything. Scared to fall in love again, cause your touch is everything. Niseni, siseme, when you're my everything. When you're my everything. When you're my everything. When you're my everything. Oh, was so scared to fall in love again, cause your touch is everything. Niseni, siseme, when you're my everything. Ah.
Sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. This is the third month of 2025. A special welcome to each and every one of you who is tuning in. This is Power Radio, the Pawa Morning Drive show, and I am your host, Wanyoike, welcoming you to a new month, a new week. Let's do this how we do it. Remember, you can get in touch with us on our social media handles. We are at Power Radio across all, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We are also on X. You can also reach us on our YouTube channel. We are streaming right now. It's live at Power Radio, and of course on our website www.power254.org/Power Radio. Right. As usually is the order of business, let me start you off with the day's traffic updates, and we start off with the high and mighty Thika Superhighway. I can see that today traffic is quite busy and crazy. Traffic starts all the way from Deliverance Church at Zimmerman down towards the town. Kumeshikana bumper to bumper. Same situation is happening along Jogoo Road as well. Heavy presence of traffic as you make your way off Manyanja Road into town. Same situation happening across Kiambu Road as you go from DCI all the way into Karura. Situation imekuwa bumper to bumper pale. Limuru Road is no better. Is just a little bit of a snarl up as you go from Village Market all the way down towards Muthaiga as you also head into town. The same situation is happening across Lower Kabete Road from Zen Garden all the way down towards Spring Valley Estate. Same situation is happening across that road. The same situation also happening along Wanyoike Way. I can see that there's a little bit of a snarl up as you go from the address area down into Westlands. Kikambala Road is also looking busy this morning. Same situation happening also across Valley Road. Just a little bit of a snarl up there as you go towards town. I can also see that Ngong Road is looking quite busy this morning. Same situation is happening from Prestige Plaza Mall down towards the Coptic Hospital area. It's just very busy this morning. Langata Road is also looking quite busy this morning from the Galleria Mall actually down towards the Nairobi Safari Walk. Things are looking quite thick, and then it clears out soon after, only to go and build up at around the Wilson Airport area. Raila Odinga Road, there's nothing much to complain about on that road. It's just a little bit of a snarl up as you go from T-Mall down towards Strathmore University. Same situation is also happening across Mombasa Road. as you go from Popo Road, the intersection that leads towards Capital Center down towards the Nairobi West Hospital into Bunyala Road, mambo zimeshikana pale, so there is nothing much that you can do. I can also see that Feather Estate is also looking the same. From Nyayo Estate, Embakasi Road, that road that leads towards it's the Eastern Bypass. The Eastern Bypass imeshikana from Naivas Supermarket, Utawala, all the way down towards the Embakasi stage that goes into Cabanas bus stop. Yes, so much heavy traffic happening on that road as well. Outer Ring Road is also looking quite busy this morning, especially as you go from the intersection that leads to Manyanja Road down into Makadara. Kumeshikana kama kitu ingine as it shikanas with Jogo Road. So you guys, just a little bit of a mtulie tu kidogo and you should be out of the woods within no time. In case of any accidents or incidents, let us know. The hashtag to use is hashtag Pawa Morning Drive. Let me get a quick breather. When we come back, we get into the day's news headlines. Keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Shauri mwenzi unataka, nimekuwa na waza na kuwaza daily, strika unanipata. It might sound crazy, la wendo nataka, ukiona nafurahi ujue ni wewe, kama mapacha tunafanana, tena na visifa vingi miupatia. Oh, she sometimes says I'm so funny. Nabadilisha kina badili paka gia. Oh, minampa burudani. Malaika wangu kipenzi, ukiniona na kuita ujue siwezi. Yani umenishika pumzi na penzi. You my love, wendo mwenyewe, oh baby. Sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya, sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya, sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya, sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya. You want me to assure you that I'm ready for you. You want me to promise that yes, I love you and it's true. Baby, come give me your love. I promise you never go tire. Nitakupenda, nitakupa mapenzi solo yani mpaka uritaya. Baby, siniogope wanipende, baby. Malaika wangu kipenzi, ukiniona na kuita ujue siwezi. Yani umenishika pumzi na penzi. You my love, wendo mwenyewe, oh baby. Sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya, sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya, sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya, sina ubaya nawe, sina ubaya. Sina ubaya nawe.
Please give me more beats.
Sound.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Welcome back. That is Kelechi with his song Sina Ubaya, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. Let's get into what has been making news headlines, and I would like us to start off with rather some very shocking news that happened in a church in Ruiru. There's just this country. I keep saying that we live in a circus. us. For the most part, I think we live in a circus. So let's listen into some of the, what this guy did, and then we come back and talk about it.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Now, switching gears, and chaos erupted at Christ Impact Church in Roiro in Kiambu County on Sunday when an enraged mob stormed the sanctuary demanding the arrest of the pastor over alleged sexual perversion. The protesters, identifying themselves as local TikTokers, accused the cleric of engaging in suspicious activities within the church, including, get this, drugging male congregants before sodomizing them. Now, police fought to restrain the furious mob as they pelted stones demanding the pastor's arrest and vengeance. And as our very own Mary Munyiri reports, the pastor fled as protesters stormed the church.
What was meant to be a peaceful Sunday morning at Christ Impact Church in Roiro turned into a scene of outrage and destruction. Worship service came to an abrupt halt as a group of furious young men and women stormed the church, pelting stones, smashing worship instruments, and vandalizing property. The air, once filled with hymns, now echoed with anger, leaving behind a trail of wreckage and unanswered questions, as a group identifying themselves as TikTok High Court accused the pastor of sodomizing young boys and even fellow pastors.
Tafadhali, mapasta wale wabaya, acheni kujificha kwa makanisa kwa sababu mnaharibia kanisa zingine zile mzuri.
Tumekuja, tumemkosa. Tumekuja tukapata washirika, tukaenda mahali pale kuingia ndani kuwaeleza what is going on. Currently as TikTok High Court, we are here kushikana na serikali to make sure vijana wamepata justice na to make sure hii kitendo haiendelee tena kwa society.
Angry protesters clashed with police, forcing officers to fire tear gas as the mob rained riot, vandalizing church property. Most of the pastor's alleged victims are young men from the church congregation. He is also accused of repeatedly dragging drivers and border riders who have been running his errands over a period of 2 years. The protesters accuse the police of colluding with the pastor to obstruct justice and derail the case.
Hayo maswali ambayo tuliuliza victim wa kwanza akatuonyesha kwamba ndo hizi risiti zangu ndo haya makaratasi ya hospitali na kufuatia zile surgeries ambazo amepitia. Ndo sasa sisi wenyewe tukaona kwamba kama imepita miaka miwili na hakuna polisi amefuatilia, hakuna mtu yote amefuatilia, basi itabidi sisi wote tutoke nje ili tuweze kushinikiza serikali iweze kushughulikia majambo haya.
Report moja iko Central Police Station Nakuru, which Honorable Mike Makarena akona hiyo report na alipiga simu kuconfirm pale Central Police Station na ikasemekana ni ukweli alireport 2 years ago.
Police are hunting for the pastor who fled as protesters stormed his church. However, Ruiru Sub-County Police Commander Maina Kibathi insists no formal complaints have been filed against him. Mary Munyiri, Citizen TV.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Yeah, so that is the situation that we are dealing with in this country. That was a story there by Citizen TV covering the just pastors gone rogue, right? So this pastor from Christ Impact Church has allegedly been sodomizing men, young men specifically, and also has been sodomizing his own pastors. And you could not see the anger from the protesters, and probably I think some of the protesters were members of his church, and a very rowdy mob there demanding for the ouster of this pastor from being the leader of the church. And as well, we saw that the police officers came to disperse the angry protesters as well. And it got me thinking that, first of all, this is absolutely outrageous. As a person who identifies as a Christian in Kenya, and whatever that comes with, it's absolutely horrifying to see the kind of impunity that we are dealing with, just because you are a man of the cloth, as they call it, just because you are a man, in man or woman at this point, in a spiritual leadership position, it does not mean that you have the right to go get away with anything. First of all, that's how you know that you're in a cult, when you cannot hold the church leadership to account of their very distasteful acts. And this is rather unfortunate. Like what we have come to as a country, the healthcare system is not working, the education system is not working, the infrastructure and development is not working. And now we have social institutions like churches also becoming part of the bigger problem, a bigger discourse, a bigger moral decay in this country. And we are living in a very precarious moment. So I'm thinking about this in terms of the affected, right? The victims that have gone through his hands. And you've heard that he has been dragging even his Uber drivers, right? And sodomizing them as well, allegedly. So, and right now he's on the loose. Nobody really exactly knows where he is at. Nobody really has an idea, where he's just at large. Who knows what he could be doing right now to any unsuspecting member of the public? And so justice should definitely be issued, and should the hand of the law should make sure that he is brought to book. But beyond that, there's a conversation that we were having. I think this must have been when the Shakahola situation came out. I think should be 2 years ago now. There was a conversation that was had about the regulation of churches. And while I understand that you cannot necessarily regulate churches on a legal basis alone, this has to be also on a spiritual level. I see the need for it, because that's why you end up finding people like this who are parading and masquerading as spiritual leaders. And because in this country we do not know how to think for ourselves, or rather there's a very special, like this. I think you see, when we talk about politicians and the sycophancy that Kenyans have towards politicians, I think it's the same kind of sycophancy that we see playing out even when it comes to church leaders, and especially people that seem to have a lot of influence. And so that kind of sycophancy is what we have to start dealing with. And so the church regulation might help us in the ways that we are not just letting anyone come out of nowhere and setting up a structure and calling people to come in, and all of a sudden you call that as a church. And that's why we end up having things like this. And of course, again, I'm saying the law cannot necessarily regulate morally what people do, because even we've had cases of Catholic priests being sodomizers, and when you look at the Catholic Church, it has one of the most well outlined and well working structures and systems. I mean, it's a global church at this point. And so when it comes to even regulation, of course, the Catholic Church has, because of the way that it has been organized, there's a lot of regulation and structure with it. But you still find that the Catholic priests are being the same people that are being, accused of causing, of being sexual perpetrators and sexual violators in the same regard. So this is not a question of just legal regulation. It's not a question of just the judicial system coming into play. I think for most part, it's mostly a moral decay issue. And I don't know how we are going to find a way to merge the two, legal and the moral, but something has to absolutely be done. Whether it's, sending out a very stern message and making sure that the justice system is not breached to the point where these people in power and cutting across all levels do not feel like they have impunity and just walk away scot-free because there's nothing that will be done to them, right? And so it's rather saddening, and honestly, it's quite it's an embarrassing day. It's honestly an embarrassing day. Even myself as the member of the Church of Kenya, I do not necessarily, I'm not with this. I do not stand with this. So I hope that we have to start having discussions. If we've not yet started having discussions, I think this is time. It's high time to start having discussions and conversations of how do we ensure that we regulate what happens. And yes, it's good to see churches developing and mushrooming left, right, and center, but there has to be at least a threshold where before we end up opening the space up to each and everyone, we've had cases of people hiding under the church because they are criminals and, trying to cover up for their very heinous acts in the same regard. So a very serious conversation needs to happen. So it's really, really saddening, very, very... It's quite disheartening, to be honest, and I hope that he will be brought to book, and I also hope that justice will be served. And I don't even know, when it comes to sexual assault, honestly, there's nothing that you can do, no amount of money or buying into that can ever make sure that justice is served, because once you have destroyed people's lives, I mean, you've had stories of people who, because their abusers were people of the cloth, they decided that they don't want anything to do with God. I mean, how can you be the one person pretending to steer me to the right direction, and at the same time you're the same person who is taking away my own innocence? You're the same person who is abusing me and oppressing me, and somehow you expect me to still believe in the same God that you are preaching, that who is a good God of justice, a good God of freedom, a good God that that puts people that are messed up in authority just to come and mess us up. I would understand why it's very, very people cannot separate what happens to them from a human perspective, and how God always becomes the target when it comes to such things. So yeah, very, very, very sorry to the affected and the victims of this guy. And yeah, we hope that he gets to be brought to book. And moving quite along, today on the Standard newspaper, a story on the cover page is "Charity or Playing Politics? Fundraisers make comeback." And of course, this story is still not going far away from the church conversation. Now, yesterday we saw President Ruto at the Jesus Winner Ministry yesterday, and he was contributing 20. He said that he will be willing to donate 20 million shillings. I think it's a church project of a building of that Jesus Winner Ministry yesterday. And this also just comes after almost a year, because we saw last July he banned state officers from participating in public fundraisers. And then he also ordered the Attorney General to prepare and submit legislation to this effect. And so for him to stand up there in the congregation, and I was looking at that news item yesterday night, and I saw how, I mean, I don't know what Kenyans, it's as if we live in an amnesia. First of all, let's deal with the president before we come to Kenyans. So you ban the public contribution of churches, but when it comes to you, there are somehow free passes, okay? So, and I'm all for giving the churches, but the political affiliations, right, of what these public church donations come with, that is what my problem is. It's not necessarily the charity that is the problem. It's you've decided to make church a political affair. So when President Ruto yesterday was giving his remarks and saying how is going to donate 20 million shillings, I could see the church just went berserk. They were so happy, exhilarated. They were all clapping. And mind you, this is the same person who is leading a country where, for example, the Social Health Authority is crumbling. I mean, even in his speech yesterday at that meeting in a church, Nairobi, he said that he's aware that the Shah is not working, but he's working to restore it sometime, which again begs the question, like what kind of country are we living in right now? Then secondly, I believe that there has to be a separation between the state and the church. And when I see the church, they use this term that the church is in bed with government, and it's rather it's problematic because a big chunk of the voting bloc in Kenya is in the church, because what Kenya says it's 82% Christian. So in one way or the other, where the numbers are, that's where the politicians will always go to pry over. And so for me, that is my biggest problem. So you cannot gazette something into law, and then because it's your time to sort of strategize for 2027, in the same breath decide that, maybe this time around I will be given the impunity just because I'm president, and I can come and give handouts, even if it's a 20 million handout, it's still the same thing, to kind of woo the masses, not forgetting or notwithstanding that we are living in a country that absolutely everything is in shambles and nothing works. So it's quite a shame, and I do not know what we can do to get away from this narrative that we keep on having to deal with. But moving along with the stories that are making headlines today. Yesterday, of course, being a Sunday, of course, politicians really love going to church services, and as I said, that's the most gullible people, the most malleable people are usually in big congregations, or it might not even be malleability. It might be I think the sameness. There's a sameness. So when politicians come, of course, in the name of God, to a place where there's a public congregation, of course, there's not going to be a lot of pushback here and there. Might be one or two people, but there's this thing called groupthink. So when we see politicians as a nation, or we see politicians coming into churches, it's rather hard to see the pushback coming from a big chunk of people that think the same way. So yesterday, Gachagua was also attending a church in Machakos County, and he was able to say that it was quite the showdown against President Ruto. He said that he has a plan, yes, and that his very special message to President Ruto is that he should not think that they do not have a plan, and by they, I think he's writing himself in the history of opposition into this country, given that Raila Odinga, right now the story is that there's allegedly rumors are going around, and stating that there is plans underway to make a non-executive position for Raila Odinga, either a prime minister position or something that is close to that. So Gachagua's statement were very clear yesterday, and he was able to say that yes, President Ruto should know that he is out to get him, and that with the formations that he's been able to make formations with, is that one of the big plans that he's making headway for is to, number one, oust Ruto out of office come 2027, and then from that he goes on to say that one of his agenda for the country, and of course among the political detractors of Ruto, is to restore the dignity of the nation. He was also able to say that he wanted to ensure that healthcare is working in this country, restore the peace, put an end to extrajudicial killings, put an end to abductions also, and there was a showdown also therefore saying that Kenyans know who is a con man, and I think he had been accused of being a con man, and he was able to give a a clap back and say that no, Kenyans know who the conman is between me and the president. So that is Gachagwa's stance right there. He's very, very adamant about creating the know-how and the notions for what necessarily is going to be the opposition. But crossing borders now, Ugandan army deployed to North DRC. Of course, this is a story that we will keep talking about until we see the end of it. And I don't know the end of the Congo crisis with the M23, taking over the northern and the eastern parts of Congo. So there is for sure the conversation that was happening right now as we saw the deployment of the Ugandan army taking over the DRC northern side because of whatever is happening right now in the DR Congo, or rather. And so it's, again, my stance has always been the same. It's always been the same. But let me just read for you what something here about, that has been captured on page 23 of the Standard newspaper. The Ugandan army confirmed Sunday it has sent troops to another town in northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo to fight local armed groups amid fears of a raging conflict could spiral into a wider war. The deployment was requested by the Congolese army following alleged massacres of civilians carried out by a militia known as the Cooperative for the Development of Congo, CODECO. He said that's the Uganda's Defense and Military Affairs spokesperson Felix, who was able to talk to the AFP. CODECO claims it defends the interests of the Lendu community, mainly composed of farmers, against the Hema community, mainly herders. So this is a story that is going to keep on having its own. I think it's I call the Congo crisis a living organism because it keeps growing its own legs every now and then. So I don't know that the deployment of the armies of Uganda is going to really solve the situation in the DRC, but we hope that regionally something is being done to ensure that we restore calm. And that story, ladies and gentlemen, leads us to the end of our conversation or our news roundup today. Today, we are going to be talking to the team lead at the People Dialogue Festival, Tracy Osogo, joined by the SDGs Village Coordinator from the PDF, that's Miss Ruth Bolo. They are here with us today, and we are going to be looking at the People Dialogue Festival that is happening from the 5th of March all the way till the 8th of March, and we shall be looking into focus what exactly makes the PDF stand out. Why do we need to harness our dialogue setup and systems to ensure that we are using it meaningfully as a tool for engagement in democratic processes as well as governance? So it's a conversation definitely do not want to miss. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we get into it with Miss Bolo as well as Tracy Osogo. Keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
At the People Dialogue Festival, or known to us as PDF, Tracy Osogo, and she is joined by the SDGs Village coordinator, Miss Ruth Bolo, and we shall be discussing about the People Dialogue Festival, when it's happening, where it's happening, but most importantly, trying to unpack the importance of multi-stakeholder engagement in dialogue, so as to see how we can advocate for better governance and democracy. You're listening to the Pawa Morning Drive show. If in case you have any questions for them, do hit us up on our social media handles. We are at Power Radio across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as well as the infamous X. You can also find us on YouTube at Power Radio. If you've not yet subscribed, kindly go out to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit on that notification bell so that whenever we go live, you are the first to know. And also we are on www.power254.org/Power Radio. Who you is, what you is about.
My name is Tracy Osogo. I currently serve at the Center for Multi-Party Democracy Kenya as the team lead for the People Dialogue Festival.
How
and
is
I
your
also
heart? How is
my
your
heart
heart
is
right now?
My heart is okay. It's beating just fine. The cardiologist has not raised any concerns so far.
Oh my God.
Yes, so far so good.
Yeah. Asante sana. No, I'll come back. I'll ask you because what does it look like to pull off such a festival? My God, yes. And to you?
My name is Ruth Bolo. I will be coordinating the Sustainable Development Goals Village at the People's Dialogue Festival.
And how is your heart?
My heart is excited. My heart is excited. I've gotten to participate in PDF all 7 editions.
Wow.
I started participating in PDF as a member of a political party. I then participated in PDF as a member of civil society.
Right.
I've also participated in PDF as part of the planning.
Wow.
So I think for me, every year and just seeing how PDF has grown, it actually gets me very, very excited.
Yeah. What does it take to pull off such an event? I mean, I've been there once and it was like, what is this thing? And I want to come back every time.
Ni God, man. I think for us, I honestly feel like PDF is so much a team effort. And it would be, in vain to claim that it is my doing or anyone's individual doing. PDF, it literally takes an entire village to put together PDF. And so it's team effort, it's concerted effort from the secretariat and the office, but also from the tremendous support that we receive from, those who believe in the mission and vision of PDF and the different stakeholders who partner and work diligently to put it together.
Wow, so this is the 7th edition, yeah?
Yes.
I believe. What cost, why?
What needs to be done for us as a society, for us as a country, to be able to be in unity, to be able to come together and actually address the issues that ail us. And so for us, we are
of the PDF. What has been the most transformative thing that you've seen that the People Dialogue Festival has been able to contribute to the governance and democratic landscape in the country?
Picking one will be it will be very hard. It's like asking me to give you the taste of blue. But one, I think at PDF is the only place where political parties are not fighting and they're not talking at each other, but they're talking to cross-sectoral collaboration between political parties, really coming together to collaborate on different projects with civil society organizations.
Right.
And I don't just mean the development organizations that work on governance issues.
Yes.
We are seeing political parties asking organizations that work on sexual reproductive health rights, and they're telling and they're telling them, we want to do a manifesto. So what is that about? And we've seen some legislators actually go ahead and find out what was I told at PDF. Is it true, and how should I go about it?
Right. And you did mention about the Sustainable Development Goals, and you being the coordinator of the SDG Village at the PDF, I cannot help myself but ask you this question, because I do have a lot of conversations with people, and the feel is that there's a sense of nobody really knows exactly what the SDGs are about here, at least the majority of the people, and yet this is something that is supposed to act as a blueprint of where the world is heading. So what is the status of the SDGs in Kenya from where you stand, and from the SDGs village at the PDF, what can people expect to come and engage with?
I hear you, and I agree in terms of the disconnect between the technocrats and the common wananchi.
Yeah.
And in 2022, when I think the SDG village was just introduced, one of the things that surprised me is we expected to have a lot of technocrats sit in the SDG village, but we had a lot of students.
Okay.
And the first day, our conversation was, the quality of conversations could be one thing, because we're not really getting what we want. But by the third day, we realized the impact, because all these students who had come to the SDG village for the first time were talking about it on social media. And they were asking, what is this SDG village we're talking about? Today, I was at PDF, I was at the museum, and this is the conversation that we had.
Yes.
In 2021, of course, because of COVID, we ended up having it at Hilton. And we had, the pillars of PDF shown. And so they would be shown on the screen and on camera. And we even had the grassroots counties activated where they talk about the SDGs.
Yes.
And the question was always, what is this SDGs and why should I care about it? Some would even just tell you outrightly, and I quote, isn't if it is our wazungu mmetuletea. These things are foreign to us. And so I think, number one, we've seen an interest that has really picked up. And I like to say that we can take credit from it at the SDG village, because we've also been able to bring organizations that are working towards the SDGs, but they don't know they're working towards it.
Right.
So just to tell them that you're on the right path, but this is how you align it. We are also able to bring the state actors so that they're able to sit down and say, these are the number of organizations that are working towards XYZ. And this is how they should be able to report to you, so that when you're doing the reporting to the UN, you have taken into consideration what our organizations are doing at the grassroots level. But most importantly, we've been able to localize the conversation where we are telling the grassroots leaders and we're telling the civil society organizations that when you go back to your wards, when you go back to your villages, and we want to cascade the conversation, not just to the wards, but we want to do it to the level of nyumba kumi, so that it really touches each and every door.
Yeah.
When you go back there, use the examples that they can relate with.
Yeah.
Use the examples of, Lake Baringo, Lake Turkana, Simbi Nyaima. Use those examples that they see, their lived experiences. And that has been able to, we get a lot of feedback from that. I mean, right now, we are able to see what is happening in the climate change space. We are able to see what the Ministry of Gender is doing, despite us, let me not begin politics. There's left, they'll take it to a particular dustbin.
Yeah.
That for me was my biggest.
Bringing on board everyone.
Right. So the People Dialogue Festival is it's a policy dialogue forum. It's a democracy. It's a policy dialogue forum. It's a democracy festival that's free and open to the public. And so we try our best to ensure inclusivity in a couple of different ways. One, we do know that typically festivals, concerts are charged.
Yeah.
But then because that provides a gap in and of itself, because if I'm not able to afford it, I will not be able to join you. So part of what we've done through the generous support of the different stakeholders and development partners is we've ensured that the People Dialogue Festival is free and open to the public. So whether you're employed and have a source of income or you don't, you're free to come and sit in at the People Dialogue Festival. Two, you don't have to be affiliated with any group. You don't have to be a member of a political party. You don't have to be a member of a civil society organization. You don't have to be affiliated with a certain institution of higher learning or a certain high school. Come as you are. It doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're in a Boda Boda association, whether you're a saloonist, whether you're a mamamboga, come as you are. So there's no identity that is, you have to be affiliated with a particular group. We're also very keen on the special interest groups. As CMD Kenya, our executive director, Franklin, sat on the multi-sectoral working group on the realization of the 2/3 gender rule. And so we're very keen on ensuring that affirmative action is not just in paper, but it's also implemented at the People Dialogue Festival. And so even in the constitution of the different dialogue sessions that happen at the People Dialogue Festival, it's actually a requirement that you must have a PWD, you must have a woman, you must have a youth, you must have a minority, as per the Constitution of Kenya 2010. But also, and Ruth has alluded to this, beyond the dialogue being, dialogue is not the reserve of a particular class of people, and it's not the reserve of residents of the capital city. And so part of what we've done with dialogue, and dialogue cannot be the reserve of a 4-day festival. Even those of us who live on our own. In the morning when you wake up, you still say a few things to just make sure your voice is working. But even before you get out of your house, even when you live alone, you've had a conversation with yourself. When you leave and you're waiting at the bus stop, when the makanga is coming to ask you, Madam, beba tao bus station GPO, you have a dialogue. You tell him apana siendi uko ama unauliza leo fare ni ngapi. And if you've been to PDF before, you would know that actually the largest constituent now is the high school students. And this is a very important group for us because in the next general election, a majority of them will be voting. And these are people, we truly believe samaki mkunja angali mbichi. If we're not enacting these values within them, it's the same way students keep on being told, you're the leaders of tomorrow. But who's grooming them and who's training them and helping them to actually take up those positions? The curriculum as was drafted is very much focused on the theory and classwork and doesn't have a focus on this. However, there's progress that's been made. And so we want to support this function because if we're talking about the Constitution of Kenya, Section 4.2, Article 4.2 states that Kenya is a multi-party democratic state. Who then is the driver of multi-party democracy? It's all these different groups. It's not just the political parties. But if we're talking of good governance, then you must make sure that the leaders coming in to take up those positions are people who are coming in with issue-based dialogue, issue-based reforms that talk to the needs of the people at the grassroots level. So we're also very keen on ensuring that beyond this 4-day festival, we have the Gumzo Shulenis, which happen in the schools. We have the Gumzo Mtandaoni, which we've harnessed the power of the digital platforms and the civic tech to make sure that we're having these conversations on the digital platforms. Last year, towards the end of the year, we had one with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, just talking about issues of what is the IEBC, how is it constituted, what does it take to constitute it, why has it not been constituted, what are the challenges they're facing, how can the Mwananchi be a part of the solutions to these challenges. So we held that. This week we have the Kenya African National Union, which is a member political party at CMD Kenya, hosting another X space just to tell people why is dialogue important, why do we need to be a part of these conversations. And so we really try to leverage those digital platforms to have those conversations. And lastly, we have Gumzo Mtaani. So PDF takes, as it is now, it takes place at the national level, and of course because it's free and open to the public, it's very resource heavy. And so due to financial constraints, we haven't yet been able to have that PDF devolved to the counties at the magnitude that it is at the national level. But then encouragingly, we've been able to have what's called Gumzo Mtaani, kupeleka gumzo kwa mtaa. So currently we do it in 6 counties, Homa Bay, Busia, Kericho, Lamu, Kitui and Nairobi, and so tunaenda kwa mtaa to actually have conversations, bring an MCA, leta vijana kwa mtaa, bring the senior citizens, have intergenerational dialogue, have a conversation around the future, the present, the past, the present, and the future of democracy within our country. And I think we're very excited to
meat and the bones of why is it important to incorporate dialogue, conversational capital, to ensure that we are advocating for better governance, better democracy. We are living in Kasongoisms and whatnot, and so we really need to start having conversations and
Wanipigia sishiki, wanitumia ujumbe sijibu. Sijui ni kwa nini, I wish ningekuwa na majibu. I don't want to disappoint you, so I would rather avoid you, but believe I am going to love you. But I'm gonna try and give a chance brain goes 100 miles an hour. I think of everything that could go sour. My heart really wants this to work out, and I'm terrified of getting a blackout. Lord forgive me, I have been running away from my true feelings, and it's time to stop being afraid and face my true self. Lakini moyo wangu huenda du. Every time I think of me and you, I'm afraid. Try for you, 'cause I'm gonna try for you. I'm gonna give my love to you.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That is Miss Sero with the song Kuwe, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive show. My name is Wanyoike, and we are still discussing the People Dialogue Festival. Why is it important for us to engage in dialogue, as well as the importance of building conversational capital as people to engage for better governance and democracy? And we are still here with the team lead at PDF, that is Tracy Osogo, as she is joined by the SDGs Village Coordinator, Ruth Bolo, and we are discussing these very pertinent issues together with them, right? So, Tracy, what is this year's theme of PDF, and why did you choose to settle for it, and what do you hope that it captures? What essence do you hope it captures to translate to the public?
Right. So, for starters, we just changed the theme this year. It's typically been competition and collaboration in democratic development, but we've moved it, and now it's building a sustainable democracy building a collaborative democracy for Kenya's sustainable future. I know that's a mouthful, but what it seeks to do is, and why we settled on that theme is, one, we actually acknowledge that for Kenya to move forward, we have to have sustainable ways of driving the country, whether you're talking about economy, whether you're talking about sustaining the culture of the people, whether you're talking about politics. I'll use politics for an example. As it is now, politics in Kenya is not sustainable. Political parties are seen as briefcase parties. That, and at CMD Kenya we call it the Uberization of political parties. You know the way you take an Uber from home to work or to wherever you're going. Unachukua tu, you only have it for the duration of that trip. Unafika penye uko unaiambia kwa heri, anakwambia kwa heri. If you meet again, how many times have you met the same Uber driver? Very rarely.
Very rarely.
And that's what the political culture is at the moment. That people are using political parties to just, it's a means to an end. And once you get to the end, then you have abandoned this party and you're going to the next party and you're going to the next party. And we can do a count of how many political party members have stuck to the parties they were in. And so, I mean, while, it's legally allowed and the constitution allows for you to move from whichever party you'd like to, whichever party you prefer, and that's part of democracy, part of what ails us is that it's not issue-based. And so the political architecture is not sustainable.
Right.
And if the political architecture is not sustainable, then the democracy of our country is not sustainable. And remember, Kenya is constituted as a multi-party democratic state.
Right.
So if the democracy is not sustainable, then, there's a gap. There's a huge gap that we have to build. But then also, if we are to get to a level where there's that political sustainability, socioeconomic sustainability, then we cannot do it on our own. The political parties can't do it on their own. The private sector cannot do it on their own. The civil society cannot do it on their own. The religious groups can't do it on their own. And so that's why we're talking of a collaborative society, because it really takes concerted efforts. It takes your mama mboga, your boda guy, you as a taxpayer, the legislators,
the media, for example.
Exactly. The activists, all these different groups working together. And so that's what informs this year's theme.
Okay. Pretty exciting there. Now, when you think about dialogue, what makes it, and she's talked about sustainability, what makes dialogue a sustainable tool for advocating for better governance and democracy?
I think also it's one thing, it's important to note that each village has its own theme that has borrowed heavily from the main theme. So for the SDG village, it is dialogue as a driver towards sustainable implementation of development goals. And you can see it's very similar to that.
Yes.
This is because number one, you cannot advocate for something you don't know exists. So how do we advocate when we don't know the kind of laws that are there that need to be implemented? How do we advocate when we do not know the needs of the people at the grassroots? Because quite often we call ourselves advocates, but I could be advocating based on my experience, and the experience of someone in an urban area could be totally different. So what dialogue does is, number one, it helps us to understand each and every person's perspective. So as you're going towards advocating for something, as you're planning something, as you're implementing something, you've got a holistic vision of what each and every person is going through, what each and every sector needs. Another thing is, when we draft our policies, when we are drafting our laws, we don't often do research. Research is almost like a new thing to us. It's only now that we are embracing research and saying everything needs to be research-based. But for a very long time, we would sit and decide that this is what needs to be done. This is what we feel women want. This is what we feel persons with disability want. This is what we feel people in rural areas need. But most of the time, it's very different from what their actual needs are. And so you find that we've got an ideal document, we've got an ideal policy document, we've got an ideal, even in private sector, the ideal work documents, the ideal human rights way of advocating. And we are forgetting that it doesn't apply to everyone. So when we come to the table, when we are dialoguing, one, we are able to know the issues, but two, we are also able to know who can I collaborate with. So if public participation, because now we are looking to, actually develop the Public Participation Act to close on the gaps that are there, then I am able to know that I can collaborate with the civil society organizations or the community-based organizations specifically to be able to call people from Kimuhia Ward so that they can actually tell us something about, they can actually give their feedback. They can validate some of the documents or they can actually tell us a better way of going at it. We are bringing organizations like Budget Hub that are able to say that this is the supplementary budget. As the national government is drawing their budget, we are also drawing our budget. as they are looking for ways in which to collect taxes, we are also telling them these are the alternatives. So what that does is that it presents you with options as the state actors. So I think we've seen dialogue not just give people the view, because like she said, it's not just about talking and it ends there, but it's also about, we've had this conversation and then what, which is often the question, because we do a lot of workshops, we do training, we do whatnot. So PDF gives us that opportunity and the platform to be able to move the conversation from just having the dialogue and following the dialogue through with commitment, with collaborations, with money, with vitamin M, as I like to call it. Because then we are able to say that as an organization, we know that this particular state agency is not funded. So we are able to give you funding on this particular area. But as an organization, we are not able to, because we've seen a lot of development partners come to PDF and say, I like how that governor spoke. I will help them put up a cold room in their market. So we are able to see such commitments. And so you see that has come from a dialogue platform and it has gone all the way to a development, because for you to have a cold room in a market facility, that actually goes a long way in terms of sustainable development.
What has been the reception from young people? Are they excited to be a part of this? I mean, I just saw the Nisisi Nisasa village like full of high school kids and they're really brilliant. I was talking to Nick Madenge from the Nisisi Nisasa and he's just 18 and my God. You guys are onto something here. So what has been the reception from young people?
Thank you. So it's been an interesting trajectory. And so, when we talk about young people, I would imagine we're talking about participants 35 and below. And so that's twofold, because the youth 18 to 35 and then the participants below 18 who also come to PDF. And so the two demographics put together constitute the largest population at the People Dialogue Festival. And that tells you a lot. That tells you that this is a group of people that has an appetite for dialogue. And I think this year's PDF is very interesting because the rhetoric has been that the young people, talk about voter apathy, talk about the don't care attitude towards politics. That has since changed. The young people are actually at the forefront. When you look at the X Space by Kano, it's actually their youth league that's taking that up. It's the young people across all these different areas that are saying we actually want to be a part of the conversations. If you're not at the table, you are on the menu. And the young people are saying we no longer want to be on the menu, and we don't want it to continue being Hatujali, we have nothing to do with politics, we're not interested. The young people are saying we're actually interested. We want to be there, and we don't just want to be seen. We want to be heard, and we don't just want to be heard, we want to be meaningfully included. So it's been very exciting seeing the young people take up these crucial roles, seeing the young people really come out in their numbers and say, we want to be a part of this, we want to engage, we want to make our voices heard, and that we're going to show up and show out. It's also been very interesting seeing the trajectory with which participants below the age of 18 have actually taken up the People Dialogue Festival. When we started including them, it was in 2021, during we call it the COVID edition, because it happened when there were still the COVID regulations and you could only be 200 people in one space. But as Ruth has said, we had the activations in different counties. And so we had a group in Nakuru, we had a group in Mombasa, and guess what? And we had a group in Kisumu, but we also had a group of students from Buka Academy in Mumias. Actually taking part in the conversations. And so and then a group in the Alliance High School taking part. And so we have a lot of, we hold that group of people very special to us because they were the first of participants below the age of 18 to come to PDF. However, what we've seen is organic growth. It started with two schools, the Alliance High School and Buka Academy, and has since grown. Now with multi-party democracy, we've seen a lot of trust and faith and goodwill from the senior leadership in making sure that the young people actually have that space and place to actually hold those conversations, to sit in those discussions, to make their voices heard. And so, we're very excited about the young people. It's a group that we're, enthusiastic about, and they are enthusiastic about dialogue. And so we're just looking forward to continuously engaging them in ways that make sense to them, in a language that's understandable to them, in jargon and legalese that they can actually easily comprehend. And actually, in one of the sessions at the Nisisi Nisasa village, Sandra Ochola, who's the founder of Tindom, has broken down the constitution. She has a book called teens constitution, and it's actually basically just taken the
Where was PDF when I was growing up? Sincerely,
you're
Where
not
were
done,
you guys?
You're not done growing, so don't worry. Usi panic.
And panic. Yeah. Oh wow. What Ruth, what level of engagement is government in this whole thing? You know, politicians, I mean, we have to deal with them, we have to tolerate them, but like, yeah, what is the level of engagement?
So I'd like to start with where we first started.
Yes.
So in 2019, yeah, when PDF began, it was difficult to get the political parties on board. And it was difficult to tell them, bring us your party leader, bring us your members of parliament. I can tell you on day one, those who came made such a huge impact that on day two, political parties that did not have a stand were calling frantically for CMD to ensure that they have a presence. And they would complain and even say, it's very unfair, we don't have a booth, yet they had been invited earlier on.
Right.
So looking at where that began, where they were not existing in the panels, they could not understand what the concept was. They were scared that when they come, it's going to be the usual, Mheshimiwa unaniacha aje. It's going to be the usual bashing. And it has moved to right now, in almost every single panel, you will get either an MCA, a senator, a member of parliament. I'm yet to see a governor on the program. I don't know if
They're actually there.
There is.
Yeah,
we have senators there. We've got party leaders there.
Dimples.
We've got a good crop of politicians that are now saying, I understand the vision and I understand the importance, and this is one space where I'm going to actually get objective conversations. It's one space where we are respecting conversations. We are not having the cancel culture. And we've seen, people who would ordinarily shout and yell at during rallies, we've seen them come to the conversation and we've seen them ask, Bwana Governor, ulituambia unatutengenezea stadium. Mpaka sasa hujatutengenezea stadium. Kwa nini? We've seen those conversations. We used to have a women's village until we realized we are putting the women away from the main conversation. And in that village, the young women would say, you're always telling us to take up space, but you're not giving us that space. We don't have women in governance who are holding our hands.
Right.
We don't have women members of parliament who are holding our hands. And we had people like Honorable Sabina Chege say, I'm going to take 10 women today. The first 10 that will register with my PA who is here, I'm going to take them under me and I'm going to mentor them for a year. And she did a Zoom at the end of that year to actually just show that this is how our year has been set aside in parliament. So we are seeing, the politicians and the legislators quite actively involved. We are seeing them say that I would like my colleague to own. And this year, like I said, it's with each year we've got new interest, we've got increased interest, and they're seeing the value for this. They're seeing the value for participating in PDF. They're seeing the value of coming to talk to people. And for a number of them, especially the first timers, they're saying actually having a conversation with Wananchi is not so bad.
Right.
Because they are actually listening to me. They're asking me questions. They're giving me ideas. We've had some of them ask, you've introduced this bill in National Assembly, and we know Honorable so-and-so has also introduced something similar in Senate. Why can't you people collaborate and do something about it? So that quality of conversation is actually very interesting. We had Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka go to the high school village and they asked him questions. And they asked him about questions of when he was vice president, because they've read these things. And now they're seeing the man that they've read about. So it's very exciting to see the level of engagement that's there and the level of proactiveness, because it's one thing for us to go out and look for them, but it's another thing for them to ask and say, can I participate? I would like to be part of it.
Gotcha. What can we expect from the different villages? First of all, what are they? And then what can we expect from the different villages?
So a village, we're Africans, and so how we actually came to deciding that they're villages is in the traditional African society. Where did we gather in the villages? If there was a wedding, if there was a funeral, if there was circumcision, if there was the christening of a baby, it happened in the village. And so for us, we decided that these different dialogue platforms are going to be called villages. So when you hear of a village at the People Dialogue Festival, it's literally just a dialogue platform. And some of them are constituted thematically.
Okay.
Others are constituted on an age demographic. So this year we have 6 major villages. There's the Nisisi Nisasa village,
Yes.
which is a dialogue space for participants below the age of 18. We have the youth village, which is the space for dialogue for participants between 18 and 35. We have the political dialogue village, which is where the political actors talk of the Office of the Register of Political Parties, talk of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, talk of the political parties, the youth leagues, women leagues, PWD leagues. All these different political actors are coming together to actually have and engage in dialogue. And it's not dialogue amongst themselves, but actually set up dialogue and organize dialogue sessions around the political architecture of the country. We have the Sustainable Development Goals village, which, as Ruth has said, caters to the needs of the citizens in terms of sustainability of the development goals. How involved are the citizens? Where have we reached? What's the voluntary national review looking like? Where can we report the progress of these goals? How are we going to be, because there's the MDGs, then the SDGs, there's the
AU 2063.
the 2063 AU goals. So then, the citizens are asking, what does this mean for us? Mimi kama mwanayahe, what does that mean for me? So that's where those conversations take place. And then there is 2 new villages which we're really excited about. One is the Public Finance Management Village, which has been constituted primarily by Budget Talk Global.
Okay.
And so, around issues of accountability, ethics in terms of the utilization of public resources, budgetary needs. We all know what happened in Kenya last year with the finance bill. And so we want to have, the former president told us that we lose 2 billion to corruption every single day. So we actually came to the realization that we need to have conversations. We need to engage in dialogue around the management of public finances. So that's where those conversations take place. And they're bringing together actors like the Institute for Social Accountability, the National Treasury, the Office of the Attorney General, Office of the Auditor. Part of this, we have organizations like the Kenya Women Parliamentary Association. Part of this, we have organizations like the Kenya Women Parliamentary Association, FIDA, the Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya, coming together and having conversations around SGBV, having conversations around SRHR, having conversations about age-appropriate reproductive health education, CSE. So those are the different villages. But we also have what's called the CCC, Culinary Conversations Corner. And this is put together by a group from Denmark called NOMI and Kenya Utalii College and it's an extension of the SDGs village, but it's specifically around the responsible and sustainable consumption. There's a lot of issues around nutrition. There's a lot of issues about dietary needs. There's a lot of issues.
Please, and Pawa Radio has to be the convener. Please, and Pawa Radio has to be the convener.
You know what? We'll take you up on. PDF is a space for, I like to call it a space for policy makers, policy takers, and actors across the divide. When you talk of actors across the divide, it's not just civil society, it's not just academia, it's not just religious organizations.
Back we get now into the logistics. Many questions around parking. What time, which are the dates, where do we go, how do we sign up, all the things. So let's take a quick break. We will be right back. This is Pawa Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Pawa Radio.
Mapenzi ni bahari lisilo na mwisho. Mapenzi ni moto kwa roho na haichomi. Nimempenda msichana wa Kisonko. Mi humona kwenye ndoto usiku nikiwa ghetto. Uishi Runda kwetu ni Dandora. Kuna rusho makombora na kumeja wakora. Lakini je anakupenda? Najua we unampenda. Basi nenda pole matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Enda pole pole, bado unasaka, bado unasaka. Penzi wangu never leave me. Penzi wangu rende pole pole. Take it slow as you go step by step. Take it slow as you go step by step. Penzi wangu never leave me. Penzi wangu rende pole pole. Take it slow as you go step by step. Take it slow as you go step by step.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
This is Hendrik Sam.
Misikatai, unanidai, akiwalahi, ninaogopa sitadinai. I want you to lie, ni vile I'm trying to find good love, baby, baby. I'll be the one for you. Mpenzi utangoja, yeah. Mpenzi utangoja, yeah, yeah. Sitaki we uchoke, yeah. Sitaki we uchoke, yeah. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. If you wait for me, I don't need nobody else. I'm trying to find good love, baby, maybe, and I'll be the one for you.
Over the past 1 hour or so, we have been talking about, dialogue. Why is it important to involve ourselves in multi-stakeholder dialogue between policymakers and takers, as Tracy likes to put it, and, the importance of having festivals like the People Dialogue Festival. So before we wrap up the show, this is a good time to find out where, when, how, parking, logistics, all of it. Let's go. Where do we you can tell anyone, any of you can go.
I think okay, go.
So the People Dialogue Festival 2020,
Yes.
we like to start by saying it's free
Okay.
and open to the public.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's free and open to the public. No one will charge you a single shilling
Good.
to be there. So
Kenyans
please
like
be there.
free
That
things.
is your space.
Yes.
It's happening this week from Wednesday to Saturday, so 5th to 8th March
Yes.
at Uhuru Park in Nairobi. And 8th March is International Women's Day.
What?
And so we have a very, very, very exciting event planned across the road from Nairobi Railway Golf Club. Either whichever one utajipata, both lead in and both lead out.
Yes.
Yes.
Security, because
Security
here now.
is very, very well
Yeah.
planned. So we work with both private security firms and the National Police Service.
Okay.
And so ukiona polisi usiogope, they're not there to scare you. They're not there to tear gas the public.
Abduct.
They're not there to abduct you. No. We are committed to ensuring that the People Dialogue Festival is a safe space
Yes.
that's free and open to the public. Yes, so they will be there only to ensure the security of all participants. Of course, we ask participants to stay vigilant and take care of their belongings, but otherwise we assure everyone that security is well taken care of, and there's plainclothed police officers, there's armed police officers, there's police officers in civilian clothing, so security is tight.
Yes.
It's
guaranteed.
So they just need to come. Make sure your vibe is on point.
Hey.
Hapo
Your
tunataka tu
energies
good
are
vibes.
high.
Yes.
Jioni pia pale masaa ya kumaliza dialogue tunaingia festival.
All right.
So you be the people, the dialogue, as Tracy has said, in the festival.
Sherehe lazima.
Tumewapa-
Who is
sheria.
coming this time around?
We
Artists?
have quite an exciting lineup this year. Some of them we will finalize on their engagements and confirm that before the end of the day.
Okay.
But amongst those who have been confirmed are, give me 1 minute. There's, Waire. There's Juakali. We're doing a bit of throwback and a bit of.
That's good. That's
yes,
good.
there's the famous Coastal Juang.
Uh-huh.
There's Gravity Band, Sarabi Band, Sanai Pretande, Yani. Yes, so
nice.
confirmations are coming in within the day, but stay tuned on the People Dialogue Festival's official website, but also on the digital platforms, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. We're posting updates as and when we receive them. So by end of day, we'll have shared the full lineups there.
Awesome.
And even the festival, and it doesn't just happen in the evening. In the morning, by the time you get there, hata muziki ndo inafaa kuwa inakuelekeza to where the PDF is happening. There's lunchtime entertainment. There's spoken word artists. We've worked a lot with like different acoustics, spoken word artists, curators. There's actually a really exciting swap circle.
Oh.
So
the clothes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's going to be a fashion show. So there's all these different festival aspects
cool.
to it all through the 4 days.
Are there anything for the kids? Bungee jump, not bungee jumping, trampoline. Yes.
Yes, there is a bouncing castle, and there's also fun activities for the kids.
Yeah.
We also realize that adults just really want to bring out the child in them.
Yes.
And so there's also really fun activities for the for the adults as well. And some competitive games. Everyone knows Kenya at 50 divides people in good ways.
Yes.
A lot of those activities shall be
happening.
God,
I lose to that game all the time. Maybe this is my time to read.
We can never be on the same team.
To redeem myself. To redeem my redemption. Okay, so as we conclude, parting shot, what do you hope the PDF Kenyans are going to come out of it with? Start with you, Tracy.
Well, honestly, we've been working round the clock. It's been a year of planning. And so we can assure you that PDF has been carefully organized, carefully curated with the Mwananchi in mind.
Good.
And so as Ruth has said, we have arranged the dialogue, we have arranged the festival. Nyi watu come to Bonge, form the dialogue.
I think for me, one, I hope that Kenyans who are coming, we are, like she said, we are very intentional in ensuring that everybody from every sector will be there. I mean, you might even find your neighbor's sister, your neighbor's sister's friend there. It's not a thing of knowing someone who knows someone who knows someone, because everyone will be there. So come and make the networks that you so much desire. Come and get the contacts that you so much desire. But also come and listen in. Come and hear what is that one thing you're missing out on. You've been trying to get people to have a conversation about something. You've been trying to get people to hear about what you're doing in your small way. So come and hear, what are you doing wrong that you could, maybe improve on or you could change. Come and listen in on what people want you to do. If you're a policy maker, if you are, a rights holder, if you are, an implementer, just come and listen. Come and listen as much as possible. Ask as much questions as you want. It's a very holistic experience. And also in the evening, come and let loose. Have all those conversations, have the difficult conversations, get the shocking conversations. I know when it comes to vitamin M, like I said, vitamin money, those are conversations that pinch us a little bit. Yeah. And then in the evening, just come and let loose. Come and get to just free your mind. We're also very keen on the mental health of Kenyans, like Tracy talked about the femicide issue and suicide. So come and let loose, come and take a breather, come and talk to someone, come and listen in, come and get ideas, come and be inspired. You can never go wrong with talking to someone, because like Tracy said, form the dialogue.
Awesome. All right, guys, that has been such a brilliant show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
today
us over.
on Power Radio, and we hope we will see you again.
Very,
we will
very
come
soon.
back and talk about the successes from the PDF. So
and we'll see you at PDF.
Oh yeah, Power 254 and Power Radio is live on location. Yeah.
Awesome.
So please, if you want to come and say hi to us and also say hi to your village people, tutakuwa pale. So please make your way there. But we'll see you on the 5th all the way till the 8th of March at PDF. Uhuru Park, Nairobi is the place to be. Thank you so much, ladies, for making time to be with us. Yes, but before I let you go, I have to let you know what is on the lineup. Conversations with Caroline Murote comes in at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and she will also be talking about PDF, and we have the board chair of PDF, not board chair, a board member, the vice chair, yes, of PDF, Mr. Dufa. Right?
The Vice
Sadiq.
Chair, Honorable Beth Siengo, and a fellow board member, Sadiq Dufa.
Sadiq Dufa, yes. So you definitely want to, be on the fly on the wall and listen in to that conversation as well. But then later on, we are going to be with the Sharia Dive, all things constitutionalism, legal affairs. Our in-house lawyer, Mr. James Wanyoike, comes in at 5 p.m. to discuss everything on the Sharia Dive show. Yes, and of course, I have to plug you. If it did not happen at Nairobi Cinema every Mondays from 5 p.m. Onwards at Fitness in the One, then it probably never happened. So this is your time to just come, spend time in the presence of the Lord, get to understand, what the Bible and the principles of the Word of God say. So I will be at Nairobi Cinema today for our fellowship. Nairobi Cinema, 5 p.m. at Fitness in the Word. It's absolutely free. So come, maybe you want to say hi to me, please come and say hi to me, and let's get blessed together. But other than that, I will see you live on location on Wednesday from 8:30 a.m. Yes, we will be live on location. So I'm pretty stoked for PDF. I did have such an amazing time last year. So I'm hoping that all our fans at Power Radio will also make their way there. All right, it's goodbye from me. See you when I see you. Ta-da!
Bye.
Bye-bye.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Road trips and young romances, breakups and second chances. Our rhythm steers through all these years. If love is a drum, you are my drummer. I'll dance to your beat only forever. If love is a drum, you are my drummer. I'll dance to your beat.